Everybody being here, I want you to ask yourself the question. In fact, I would encourage you to write this down. I want you to write this question down. What would be possible? Like, I love this question. What would be possible if failure wasn't an option? What would you create? What would you do? Um, what career would you go after? What relationship would you pursue? What how would you treat yourself? How would you treat others? Right? Like really asking if failure wasn't a possibility, what would you create? What could you do? Well, in this conversation, I'm going to show you how failure is nothing more than an illusion, right? And you are the one that creates that opportunity within yourself. Now, there was a time in your life where you took a big risk and put yourself out there and you received feedback that has now impacted you in a way that you don't want to ever experience that again. So our ego creates these wonderful things called patterns or paradigms or scotomas or lots of different words where you don't want to experience that ever again. So you've put this label on it as failure. Well, and so imagine you having this part of you, like this experience that you had when you were younger, that you got humiliated. And see, when we are humiliated, what ends up happening is we literally lose parts of ourselves that end up being detached from who we are as a whole being. And so your ability to go back and look at where were you humiliated that separated you from your wholeness, this is your greatest opportunity. This is your greatest opportunity. So there's a movie out there called 4 Minute Mile. I think it's called 4 Minute Mile, but it's about a washed up coach that ends up convincing this protege to let him coach him. Now this protege had serious attitude issues. In fact, he was kicked off the track team because he was out of control, had seriously bad attitude about life. And this coach was a washed up drunk, right? And the coach wanted to have something to put purpose in his life again. So he goes and convinces his protege to let him coach him. And after long process, the kid finally says, okay, cool, I'll let you coach me. And this coach runs this kid through a regiment that was painful to watch. And then what he does is he breaks the mile up into 4 quadrants. Obviously, it's 4 quadrants because hence quadrants, right? Anyway, the kid's running the first quadrant and he falls down on the ground and he's screaming in pain. He's like, oh, the pain, I can't take it. The pain, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And the coach walked up to him and said something that absolutely blew me away. And this is it right here. This is the antidote for failure right here. He said, it's fear of the pain that is stopping you. It is fear of the pain that is stopping you. And that is the same thing with us. This is what stops us from stepping into our greatness. It's fear of the pain. But see, friends, I want to offer you the antidote. Where does the pain come from? The pain comes from the narrative or the meaning that we attach to the outcome, right? And this is where guilt loves thriving. The guilt that we have within ourselves or the lack of forgiveness that we have in ourselves, right, puts us in this position where we believe we have to beat ourselves up when things don't turn out the way that we hoped that they would turn out. I mean, think about that. You beat yourself up for things not turning out the way that you would want them to turn out, rather than celebrating the fact that you got into the experience and that you learned some amazing things about who you are and that you got some really great feedback and to make course corrections, which is mastering itself. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, I'm going to be doing a Mastering Potential workshop coming Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can sign up by going to masteringpotential.com. Masteringpotential.com. I'm going to be making all of my life works available. I've been in the process like this last year. I did, 2021, I did 4 courses, 3 group coachings, and putting together my membership. And you can have access to that at the masteringpotential.com. But I'm going to be teaching a master course workshop at masteringpotential.com on Monday night at 6 p.m. You can sign up by going there. And when you sign up now, Really important is that you whitelist your email, because I've got some gifts for you that I want to send to you that you've got to make sure that if the email goes in spam and you don't see it, you're going to miss some really awesome gifts that I have prepared for you. So, my friend, um, this is what's really, really important. See, we are meaning making machines, and our ego loves to create patterns, and then our ego doesn't like to be wrong. So, what does failure mean to you? What does failure mean to you? And when do you attach that label to something, right? Because the part that's important is understanding that, it's just like Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison didn't fail 10,000 times when he was in the process of creating the incandescent light bulb. He found 10,000 times it didn't work. But see, if every time we move forward, we say that we fail, guess what? We are now we are creating strategies that demotivates us from stepping into what is possible. What is possible? I want to ask you that question. What is possible in your life? What is possible if you commit to your dreams, right? Like, really go after what it is that you want to make happen. What is possible? And see, the more we can focus on that, then we raise above these lower vibrating things that want to keep us playing small, like guilt and shame. The voice of guilt and shame is, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You can't make anything happen. Remember last time we did this and you got humiliated? Remember that? That's the voice of guilt. That's the voice of guilt and shame. And see, our pride keeps all of this below us so that we're not able to step into who we are. How well do you celebrate your victories? When was the last time you went, you know what, you're pretty freaking amazing and you've gone through a lot of things and I'm super proud of you? Like, we live in a society that believes that it's noble to beat yourself up. We live in a society, and look at what the news is all about. It's about humiliating people, right? Like, they want to find the garbage. Dirty Laundry. Go listen to that song by Don Henley. Perfect song, right? The media loves to humiliate people because it sells. And see, the reason people get addicted to watching that stuff is because that they need to justify how they feel about within themselves, right? So again, what would be possible if failure wasn't an option? See, friends, to me, there's no such thing as failure. It's all feedback. It's just feedback, right? And feedback itself is neutral. I appreciate everybody that is watching. Thank you all for coming on. It's good to see you. Where are you all checking in from, man? I'm getting like, this is awesome. Where is everybody checking in from? I love it. On a Saturday night, everybody is checking this out. I appreciate it. So, when you going back over your life, look at the timeline of the things that you have attempted in your life. Go over your timeline of the things that you've attempted in your life. And really, Southern California, glad to have you. I'm in Central California, so I appreciate people from California being here. What parts of your life do you wish would have been different than how they turned out? What parts of your life do you wish would have been different than the way they turned out? Right? Like, what do you regret? What are the things in your life that you regret? What do you have a lot of emotional charge around and how it turned out? Like, when was your heart broken? When did you take a risk and it didn't turn out the way that you wanted and you went, I'm never going to do that again? These are the parts of you that want to be loved and healed and supported so that you can get back up and create the life that you really want to create. This is what it's about. We are human beings. We're human beings, right? And it's not that we are resourceful. It's that we get into unresourceful states, right? You are resourceful beyond your wildest imagination. But see, we get into these unresourceful states that make us believe that we're not able to achieve and create what it is that we really want to create in this world, right? So I had an experience. I have never, ever shared this in public. Never shared this in public before. When I was going to college, there was a gal that I was head over heels in love with. That's awesome. At this point, nothing, because good. I had this gal that I was crazy about, and I had this sponsor that I was working with, a mentor that I was working with, and he's like, dude, you got to get this, you got to get her out of your system. You got to go look her up. So I go look her up, and I hadn't talked to her in a while, and found out that she was giving a baby up for adoption. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I called him back and I said, hey man, she's giving a baby up for adoption. He's like, that baby's yours. And I'm like, no, there's no way. There's no way. And I went and looked at the receipts the last time we were together, and it was about 2 weeks shy of 9 months. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So I called her back and I said, hey, we're going to stop the adoption because I want to find out if this child is really mine or not. Of course, when I called her back, I knew that I was possibly going to destroy any opportunity of us getting back together. But see, this is what's important. The decision I made in that moment, and this is really something that was life-changing for me. The decision I made in that moment was I couldn't spend the rest of my life not knowing if there was a child out there that was mine. That was more important to me than if she and I ever got back together again. See, every decision you make is you defining what you really value, right? And if there's something in your life that you have hesitation in creating, it's just an opportunity for you to see what is it that you're committed to. And usually when people are not stepping into their greatness, they're more committed to what it is that they don't want to experience rather than focusing on what they do want to experience. If you ask most people what they want, they're going to tell you what they don't want, right? So when you go out to create the life that you want to create, you've got to get really clear on what is it that you're committed to. And then true commitment is you're going to be willing to go through whatever it takes in order to manifest this. And you're willing to go through whatever it takes to make that a reality, right? That's true commitment, based not getting caught up in the emotions, not getting caught up in the setbacks, whatever it is, you're able to stay the course and stay committed to what it is that you want to create. Because the reason you put something outside of you is because you get to be a different version of who you are, right? That's exciting, right? But see, for us, our biggest fear is loss, right? Like being separated from our tribe and loss. So asking yourself, what are you afraid of losing? What are you afraid of losing? And what comes up for us when we ask that question is nothing more than things that we have lost in the past. So we're literally accessing our past that's keeping us from creating our future. So if you literally give yourself permission to grieve the loss of things that you've done in your past and really look at how did this get created and look beyond taking it personal, and also look that every single thing in our life is perfectly designed to get the results that we're getting. Right. So if you can look at the feedback of whatever it is that created that loss and be able to look at it and objectively and neutral, right, not having any attachment to it, and say, how did I create this? Now, this question I'm asking you right now, how did you create it, is like one of the most liberating questions you could ever ask yourself. How did I create this situation where I wasn't able to manifest what it is that I really wanted to create? See, we cannot manifest from a state of fear. However, we attract what we are afraid of so that we can have opportunities for us to step into a more expanded version of who we are. Let me repeat that. We attract things that we're afraid of into our lives so that we can expand into greater versions of who we truly are, right? So your fear is your greatest teacher. Your fear is your greatest teacher, right? And if you do what you fear, that fear will go away. Because it's nothing more than just an illusion. And see, we cannot experience courage without moving through fear. Courage is predicated on having fear. If you don't have any fear, you don't have courage, right? So really looking into what is it that you get to create and what is possible for you. I love that. I mean, I love soul, body, and mind fit. Yeah. And it's really important for us to look at the thing. See, and when we resist something within ourselves, that becomes an anchor, right? What we resist will persist. And the more that we can give ourselves the opportunity to look at what we resist and get our ego out of the way, because we can I don't have anything to resist. And then something comes in our lives and knocks us on our ass. And we're like, how did this get created? Because I didn't want to get honest about what was really going on. Friends, I've been on this planet a while. Okay. 55 years of age, and I have experienced things that most people would not even want to sign up for, right? And it's because my ego kept getting in the way, my pride kept getting in the way, and I kept thinking that I was in a different place than where I really was at, and started taking leaps that I had not been prepared for yet, right? Every time we get put into a situation where we don't want to be in, the reason we are put into that process and that initiation is so that we can learn to overcome what it is that we are not possibly believing that it's possible, right? So it's really important. Hey, Ontario, welcome. Glad you're here. So it's really looking at what are you afraid of? What is it that you're afraid of? And get real about that. What do you have anxiety about, right? And face it. Stop running from it, because if you run from it, all you're going to do is create overwhelm, and you're carrying this into anything else that you're going to do. And all it comes down to is you trusting your ability to stand in the unknown, as long as you need to stand in that unknown in order for you to create what it is that you want to create. That's your truth. That is your truth, right? And get really clear on who you get to become in order to create what it is that you really want to create, right? Yeah, toxic relationships are great teachers. They're great teachers. And we will attract into our lives at the vibrational level that we are at in order for us to transform and transcend what needs to happen in order for us to create what it is that we really want to create, right? Creation is all about preparing us. And we're going to be put into situations that are going to be initiative and catalysts in order for us to become. So, like, you can say, I want to have $1 million business. Okay, cool. Well, then what person do you need to become in order to create that $1 million business, right? So it's the same thing as, when is a problem no longer a problem, right? When we've discovered the solution, and see if on the other side of what we're afraid of. So I always use this story when I'm talking with my clients. And that is, what is it that a dragon protects? What does a dragon protect? Like, if you go into a dragon's lair, what is it's inside of that dragon's lair? It's treasure, right? Like a whole bunch of treasure. And I like to say, well, instead of slaying the dragon, I'm going to step it up for you and say, why don't you go in there and befriend that dragon? And what happens once you befriend that dragon is you get the treasure, right? But the treasure is freedom. The treasure is freedom. The things that you don't want to face within yourself is where you're going to discover your freedom, right? That is hugely, hugely important for you, because the more you're able to accept these parts of you that you don't want to look at, the less someone else is going to be able to impact your life on that, right? And it's really important that, and the parts of you that you don't want to accept are the very parts of you that need your love more than anything. Okay. So that, my friend, is your antidote for failure. It is you stepping into what it is that you don't really want to face, and facing it, and getting real clear about what is the narrative that you have created about these, right? Because we are meaning making machines. And the more intentional we get about creating the meaning that is aligned to what it is that we really want to create, the more freedom we're going to experience. Okay. So again, I'm teaching a master class Monday night, and you can access this by going to the Potential Zone group. I would encourage you to go to the Potential Zone group anyway, because I give lots and lots and lots of content away over there. It's an amazing community of people. And I've got a surprise for everybody Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be teaching a masterclass. I'm going to give you accessibility through it at thepotentialzonegroup.com, or you can sign up for it at the masteringpotential.com. Masteringpotential.com. If you go to masteringpotential.com, be sure to make sure that you get whitelist the email, because in the email I've got lots of gifts there for you. I appreciate you showing up. Appreciate you being here, and appreciate everybody showing up tonight on a Saturday night. Good for you. Congratulations. So get over to masteringpotential.com, sign up, and be sure to look for the email, because in that email I've got lots of really cool gifts for you. And I'm doing this class on Monday night that you do not want to miss. I'm going to be making available all my life's work, the 4 products that I've created over this last year. Lots of amazing things, and you'll be glad that you did. So I appreciate you being here. Have a great Saturday night. And until next time, my friend, live like your life depends on it, because it does. And I appreciate each and every one of you, my friend. Have a great night, and I'll talk soon. Be blessed.